guys, welcome. This is Jessica with the Little White Door, and today I'm bringing to you a very simple and fun DIY. We're going to make together a Christmas wreath. So for the last few years, I've purchased always a real one, but this year I wanted to switch things up a little bit, and I wanted to create one that is going to last the test of winter and the test of time. I purchased a whole bunch of foam materials that I could use for this wreath this year, and I thought about creating this video so that you can see a little bit of the process and the method that goes behind creating a visually interesting Christmas wreath. So without further ado, let's jump into the DIY. The first step in the process is to acquire all the supplies you're going to need. I got my wreath in a 20 inches diameter and is a white rattan twig wreath. It was on sale at the craft store for $8, and I'm just going to go ahead and share that for this project I spent a total of $39 for all the supplies. Here I'm showing you my choices for foliage and floral, and I am a pretty neutral lover, but for the wreath that goes outside my house door, I don't mind adding a touch of color. And for me, red screams Christmas. On the same token, I wanted my wreath to have a pretty serene and calming vibe, so I went ahead and purchased greens that were pretty muted and leaning towards a slight silver blue tone, which I felt it complemented beautifully with the base white color of the wreath and the red hints that comes from the wild berries. Once home, I got rid of the price tags from each of the items and I cut the branches in smaller pieces so that I could arrange them as I wanted. I'm using gardening shears because I had those handy, but to cut the wire inside the faux stems, it would be ideal to use a wire cutter. My best tip here is to cut the wire as best as you can, and if it is too thick, then you can twist it and turn it until it gives and it breaks off. My number one advice to create a Christmas wreath with a lot of visual interest is acquiring foliage and floral in different sizes and definitely different textures. Since I knew I wanted to keep mine pretty simple overall, I chose faux foliage that was going to give off soft and fluffy vibes, so to get more like an airy look, keeping it Christmassy but without adding solely pine or cedar. I am a very visual person, and to this tip, I must add that keeping in mind your color scheme is key when sourcing your items because you want to make sure you keep the composition balanced and overall tidy to the eye. Once I cut all of the stems in smaller sizes, I went ahead and arranged them on the wreath, just to get an idea of the overall placement. It is my second best tip for you to pay a lot of attention to placement before you start securing all of the parts together with wire, because it is key that your wreath result looks balanced. What I mean by that is that you want to make sure that your placement looks even all the way around the wreath, so that it doesn't look one side heavy. You could choose to make your wreath bottom heavy with a heavier placement of items at the bottom, but that's really the only exception to avoid a visually unpleasant result. Keep in mind that our eye travels from top left corner to right bottom when looking at any object, and whether you're aware of it or not, you're quick to dismiss an uninteresting object when the flow doesn't feel right. So avoid overcrowding any of the areas of your wreath without balancing it out on the opposite side. After trying arranging my stems the first time, I realized that I wasn't satisfied, so I cut a couple of more pieces and I decided that I wanted to incorporate a few more things. Now this step is totally optional, but since we're making our very own wreath, might as well we add a touch of personal into it. I bought this pair of squirrels ornaments and I decided that I wanted to sit them on the wreath. I also remembered that I recently purchased some brass bells from the flea market, and I figured it was going to bring the whole look together if I added those as well with a ribbon. I'm going to play the video here, speeding through it, so you can see the coming of the project without wasting any time, but still seeing all the steps. I basically just took all the foliage I selected and made sure to secure them with a wire. Another quick tip, very important for this project, is to pay attention to the negative space. You can fill your wreath completely if you wish. But for me, as I said, I wanted mine to feel more airy, and I think that leaving some empty space actually helped giving the end result more of an organic and natural feel. Negative space also is really great to help you balance the look of the project. Because if you find that you added a little too much in one area, you can leave more empty space around it to balance it out. I know I said this before, but because we're creating a visual item, we must remember that we want our eyes to be able to travel from one detail to the other. For the ribbon here, I created a loop between the bells because I wanted to avoid the look of the cowbells, where the bells are basically just hanging off of a collar. This just makes it look more refined and professional, if you will. Once I was done with that, I secured the two squirrel ornaments with hot glue, and I set my hot glue gun to medium heat. I went ahead pretty generously, and then I hold them in place for a few seconds to make sure the glue gripped properly. Then I assessed the situation before finishing the project. It took me overall about 1 hour, maybe an hour and a half, between cutting all the pieces and finalizing the wreath. But I am so happy with the final result, and I hope this video inspires you to create something unique for Christmas as well. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe, and let me know in the comments what your thoughts are about the wreath and if you're going to make your own this year. I wish you a very good one, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. Bye! Can you please give me the sound back? I need the light for the video. Please. The sound left the chart. I need this to work! It's always sunny in California. And the day I film, it's cloudy and the sun goes in and out. I see how it is.